Hello, everybody. It's Frank, and we're going to talk about another new product that is going to be offered totally for free, absolutely free, as Mr. Zappa would tell you. And it is our new Pacifica newsletter. And we are going to, since you have State of the Straight, if you are following that, great, good for you. There's a lot of things you can do with that particular system that we have. And we have come up with this one, which is the Indo-Pacific area, which is, of course, China, all the other countries operating in the Pacific, what's going to go on over there, and how you can pick up on it prior to anybody else. So I'm editing slash publishing that. And if you do decide to go over and join up, the links will be in the description area and where you can get it. Of course, as I said, it's going to be free, so don't get all crying. And we're going to spend a few minutes explaining what Pacifica is, why it was created, and perhaps most importantly, how you can use it as a research tool long after, the weekly issue has been published, because we're not doing this in design as a newsletter. It's intended to become part of something much larger. And most of the reporting on the Indo-Pacific focuses on crisis, naval confrontations, diplomatic disputes, the famous Chinese military exercises near Taiwan, right? But they don't tell us where the region is actually going. Business leaders don't invest because of yesterday's headlines, and the governments don't build ports because of one week's reviews. They look for trends, and in Pacifica, we created it specifically to identify those trends before they become obvious. The goal is very simple, which is better understanding, better decisions. Most intelligence products begin with military activity. We begin with economics, okay? Where you're going to see all these other ones, Cipher and all this bullshit. That's coming from a different viewpoint entirely. We ask questions about infrastructure, government investment. The ports, are they growing? Are they shrinking? Which countries need financing? Where are the new energy projects emerging, especially nowadays? Critical minerals, right? Are the supply streams starting to change? All of this is very important, and economics helps to explain the strategy that these countries are going to adopt. Every week, we evaluate hundreds of developments occurring across the Indo-Pacific, and we don't summarize the news. A lot of these companies do that. They summarize it. We are organizing information according to a consistent methodology. Every country is examined through several lenses. What does a country need? What is on the country's wish list? More importantly, what are their aspirations? What are the commercial opportunities there? Infrastructure, things of that nature. What are the security concerns going to be? How are the outside powers, China, the United States, whoever, how are they responding to these things? And most importantly, what has changed this week compared to last week? And that consistency allows every issue to build upon the previous one. Instead of isolated reports, the readers can develop a continuously improving understanding of the region. And that is where we're going to try to be different, okay? Each issue is designed to stand on its own, but together, as you get them, let's say you decide to put them into a system of whatever analysis, they become an expanding information library. So 6 months from now, you're doing Papua New Guinea or Palau or Vietnam or Japanese investment through Micronesia. Instead of starting from scratch, you can return to previous Pacifica issues and trace the developments of those stories over time. You will see projects begin, watch their evolution, and where they go from there. You'll understand why the decisions were made. You'll recognize patterns before they become headlines. And that accumulated knowledge is far more valuable than any other single weekly report that tells you this, that, or the other thing, because it's a clickbait grabber. That's why we've been a little slow lately, because the murk around any real news, especially in the United States, is so thick that you could not consistently report on it, because 90% of it is gibberish. So that's why it was time to roll out these kind of products. And like I said, Pacifica was designed for people who do make decisions, business executives, investors, grad researchers, journalists, government officials, military, things like that. Anyone who needs a practical understanding of where the Indo-Pacific is heading. The writing intentionally avoids unnecessary jargon. I don't know about you, but I hate that shit. I hate going to a thing and some rear admiral is going to just sit there and hit me with the alphabet. I don't want to hear it. I want to understand what it is you're talking about. Every person is entitled to some intelligence. It is not that they're doing you a favor by talking like that. It is a psychological position to be at, to talk down to you. There is no person out there who does not deserve to understand the ability to understand what is happening in the world. People were probably better informed in the 1700s than they are now. You shouldn't need an intelligence background to understand the strategic developments that are occurring in the world. And if you're willing to spend 15 to 20 minutes each week, which I think is what I timed it at, you'll gradually develop a much deeper understanding of one of the world's most important regions. And this is going forward for the next X amount of decades, okay? One thing you will notice about Pacifica is that we actively look for positive developments. We are not, what is that shitbag called out in California? Can't even remember his name, TMZ. We are not the TMZ of open source intelligence. We are looking for positive developments. We are looking to find what else is going on instead of the conflicts. The conflicts are a given. If you were going to go do the same thing that we do at State of the Strait, well, we know there's a war going on between the Americans and the Iranians. Tell me something I don't know. And that's where you want to be. I want to be able to tell you something that you don't know so that then you can take that and go forward. Okay. So if there are new ports, like I said, or transportation corridors or mining or anything of that nature, we want to be able to report on that. Those developments deserve just as much attention because they determine the region's future long after today's political crisis has disappeared. The objective isn't simply to explain risk. It is to identify opportunity. So 1 week's news, rarely changes history. Years of consistent development do. So with Pacifica, it's designed to help readers recognize those longer trends. As each issue is published, the database is going to become stronger. Connections are going to become easier to identify. Patterns become easier to recognize. The publication grows more valuable every week because every issue adds another layer of understanding. You see where I'm coming from? If we can continue to do this for 6 months to a year to 5 years, you are going to be, if this is your thing, you are going to definitely have something up on someone who goes to Claude or Raphael or whoever else and says, write me a paper about the whatever somewhere. Yeah, you're going to get one, but are you going to get something that you can charge for? Are you going to get something that people are going to understand? Are you going to get something, if you're in that industry, that the administration is going to say, I think we can try that? Right? And that's really where I'm going with this. I mean, we started pretty well with State of the Strait, and when State of the Strait is done, meaning that the Iranians are either defeated or vindicated, whenever that is, once that is over, we'll expand out with similar, but not the same. Obviously, we have to do it differently because of the issues that have occurred in the Gulf, where we can start to explore what's going to happen in Arabia and all the countries in that surrounding area. That is also going to be interested in, but once again, an entirely different world than what's going to happen in the Pacific. So anyway, that's what I have to tell you on this one. If you enjoy this approach to understanding in the Pacific, I'd invite you to subscribe and follow along each week as we continue building this. We are going to try to keep it where Pacifica will come out on Monday, which will be for the Sunday back, and State of the Strait is staying on Tuesday and covering the week before that as well. And there should be 1 or 2 articles in the middle of the week, which will lead you into the next week's information. And as we go along, once again, if we have the ability to, I'm going to see if I can put a group site on South Florida Conservative so that if you have questions or comments or are interested in the articles, that you'll be able to work through that and help us develop as we go along. All right. So that's all I have for now. Tuesday, August 4th, 3:30 p.m. And have a good day. Goodbye.